Now we're going to learn about for loops in Python, which is a way to iterate over sequences, which are things like lists, strings, and ranges. Before we learn about the while loop, which is a different variation of looping, which is looping based on a condition while it's true, a for loop is to be used usually when you want to go over a list of items or just multiple items in a collection of some sort or a sequence, okay? The most basic for loop that we can do is just looping over a list. So if we just have a list of fruits, for example, again, and we want to print out each fruit, we could say, for example, my favorite fruits. To print out each one, we can do for fruit in fruits colon, and then this is the code that's going to run every single iteration. So for every single fruit, we're going to say I like fruit. So this loop here gives you, for every single item in this list here, it's going to give you an iteration, and each iteration is going to have a fruit variable that you can work with that is going to have the current value of the item. So in this case, if we run this, let's take a look. We get my favorite fruits. I like apple, I like banana, I like orange, and I like grape. So it ran 4 times because we have 4 items, apple, banana, orange, and grape. And then for every single iteration, we have the fruit variable, which has the current value of the item, like I said. So apple, banana, orange, and grape. So it's really that simple. Whenever you have a list and you want to go through the items of the list, you can use a for loop. Really easy, right? Another way to loop within Python is with the range function. It's a built-in function that gives you a sequence of numbers. So it's especially useful when you know how many times you want to loop, or you want to loop X number of times. So we can use it. Let's just say that we want to print out numbers 1 through 5. We can do for I in range 1, 6. So this code is going to look weird, of course, for the first time, but basically you're calling the range function, which is a built-in function within Python. You're giving it a start, so it's starting at number 1, and then an end. And the end is not inclusive, it's exclusive, so it's going to be 1 through 5. It's what's given. So if you hover over this, it tells you return an object that produces a sequence of integers from start inclusive to stop exclusive by step. And then I, just like for fruit, is going to be each item of the sequence produced by this. So we can do print number I. Let's get rid of the space because it adds one automatically. Let's run it, see what we get. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. So I you can call whatever you want, of course. I is just a common convention that people like to use whenever you're looping over numbers like this. But you can literally call it num or number if you want to, and you can replace it. If you only provide one number to range, this means that it starts at 0, and then this is the end index exclusive. So now it's going to be 0 through 5 instead of 1 through 5, because it starts at 0 by default. So run it. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If, for example, we want to do 0 through 9, we can do 0, because start at 0, and then 10, because we want to stop at 9. So provide 10. There we go in the console, 0 through 9, looks good. And then if you want to, you can also specify the step, kind of like we did before when we were accessing elements of a list. So we can do 2. So this means that instead of going 1 by 1, it's going to go by 2s. So let's run it, see what we get. So 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. Nice. Another thing that we can use a for loop for is with strings. So we can have a string like, let's just say word is equal to Python. Now a string is just a single value of text, right? But since a string is made up of individual characters, if we use a for loop with it, it'll actually allow us to go through each character one by one, which is pretty cool. So for example, we can do for letter in word. We can print out each letter. So let's run it. There we go, Python. So a string, even though it's not a list or a sequence of numbers, can still be broken up automatically by a for loop into individual characters, which is pretty cool. How can we count the vowels in a string? So first of all, let's start with what we're going to use. Let's have a sentence that says hello world, like that. And then we can do something like vowels is equal to A, E, I, O, U. We know that to be the vowels in English. And then now we could do the vowel count. So this will be storing the number of vowels that we have currently found. So we want to loop through every single character in our string here. We know how to do that now. So for char stands for character in sentence. For every single character, we want to see if that character is a vowel or not. And so I made this string here because there's actually a cool thing you can do. You could say if char in vowels. So using this special in keyword is very similar to how we're using it with a for loop. We can check to see if the current character is in this string here, which is A, E, I, O, U. So even though this is one single string, just like we did with the for loop, this will automatically break it up into individual characters, and it'll check to see if the character is in that character list or not, okay? So if it is, we can do val count is equal to val count plus 1 or plus equals 1. Nice. And we could also just print out found a vowel. And remember, char corresponds to the actual character that we're going over in the for loop currently, okay? So now after that, we're going to do print. We'll say the sentence as val count vowels in it, okay? I really hope this makes sense. Let's run it real quick, see what we get. So found a vowel E, found a vowel O, found a vowel O. So 2 O's. The sentence has 3 vowels in it. Another useful built-in Python function that we can utilize with for loops is the enumerate function. So this function allows you to pass in a list and it gives you in return every single element along with its index. So for example, if we have our fruits again, if we want to loop through the fruits, we know we can do for fruit in fruits, right? And then for every iteration of the for loop, fruit has the current value of the element. But what if you also want the position index? This is where enumerate comes in. So we can take this, Control X, cut it, and use enumerate, and then pass in the list. And so now we can also come here and do index, comma, fruit. So now when we're iterating through a list using the for loop, we not only have the value of the current element, but also the index of it. So we can use that if we want to access the list or change the list in any way. Let's keep it simple though. So for now we can say print, and we'll print out the current index along with the fruits, the value of the element. Let's run it, see what we get. There we go, we get 0 apple, 1 banana, 2 orange. So just as a general kind of rule, anytime that you want to loop through something and also the index, each time you loop for each iteration, you can use enumerate. That's useful for modifying elements by index. If you want to display the position of an item, that's what the index is for. All kinds of stuff where you just need the index pretty much along with the value, okay? Let's make an actually useful and more fun program here so we can get some more practice. So let's make a program that asks you for your favorite 3 movies, and then we're just going to spit that back at the user essentially. So we're going to ask for input, store it, and then retrieve it and give it back to the user, okay? So we're going to do print, enter your 3 favorite movies. And then we're going to store that in a list of movies. It needs to be empty by default, of course. And now we want 3 movies, so we're going to loop 3 times. If we know we want to loop 3 times, this is where range is useful. So we can do for I in range 3. So this will be 0 through 2, which is 3 times. And then for every single iteration, we're going to get the current movie. So movie is equal to input. And we'll just say something like enter movie. Enter movie, okay? Let's put a space there. And then once we have the movie from the user, we're going to add it to the list of movies that we want to keep track of. So remember, to add something to your list, we can do movies.append movie. Oops. Movie, like that. So we're passing in the string movie that we gathered from the input into the append method, which adds the movie to our movies list. So this will go 3 times. After that's done, it's going to come here. And now we want to print back to the user, print, we'll say your favorite movies. And now we just want to loop through each movie one by one. So we can do that. Let's do it as a list, right? So we're going to say 1, movie 1, 2, movie 2, 3, movie 3. So this means that we need the index along with the value, right? So for that, we use enumerate. So it ranges for this. We just want to loop 3 times, but now we want the index and the value. So we're going to do for I, which stands for index, and then we can do movie, which is the value, in enumerate. And so for each movie, we're going to do this here using string formatting. I haven't done a video explicitly explaining string formatting, but it's a really nice way to include everything in one string. So basically, we're just printing out the current index, a period, and then the movie, okay? So let's run it and just take a look at what it looks like. So enter your 3 favorite movies. I'm going to say, I don't know what my 3 favorite movies are, so I'm just going to list just something random like potato. I'm going to say potato 2 and potato ultimate. Now it says your favorite movies, 0 potato, 1 potato 2, and 2 potato ultimate. So it works perfectly. The only downside here, of course, is that humans don't use 0 basing, so we're not going to start at 0. We would want to start at 1. So one way we could fix that is just do +1. So now if you run it again, let's enter our 3 favorite movies. 1, potato 2, 2, blah, 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 and 3, blah, blah, blah. There we go. So this is a pretty fun program to create, but it's also perfect for introducing you to for loops because we've not only used for loops twice, but we've also used the range function and the enumerate function, which we just learned about. So range is useful usually when you know how many times you want to loop, so we're looping 3 times. And then enumerate is useful when you want to loop over something like a list, but also provide the index for each iteration of the loop. This was pretty long, so I'm going to end it here. Hopefully you guys learned a lot in this episode about for loops. Now you guys should know a lot at this point. You're learning more and more every episode. You know about if statements, while loops, for loops. Now we can make some pretty complex programs. So keep watching, keep learning. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this and you're going to keep learning more. So yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. See you guys next time, and peace.